She's into women and she's open to, our relationship is, you know, monogamish or open in a sense, meaning we can do stuff together. We've also tried swinging, went to a bunch of sex clubs and all that. Didn't really like that. Not even for reasons that you think. I would say like since 2019, just in general, I had a relationship that ended end of 2018. And I would say since 2019, I have already been experiencing this general shift from 2019, 2020, it was kind of building up. The shift where I did not care as much for, you know, these one-night stands. And I was very particular about the kind of women that I wanted to spend time with. There needed to be a certain level of connection. Yeah, I needed to be interested enough in the girl, okay? That's not to say that I would only hang out with girls or if they were like relationship material. No, it was a spectrum. But I started to become, just in general, a lot more particular about who I wanted to spend time with and why I was doing this, and just kind of a lot more conscious and mindful of how I structured my time. I didn't see it. I didn't see it worth my efforts anymore. Look, when you're starting out on this journey, you're not just starting out. Like along this journey, one of the big reasons that we do this, one of the big reasons that I did this, meet all these women and pursue all these things. Not to say that everything up to that point were on one-night stands. Obviously, I had relationships and I had girls that I would see for a few months. I had all kinds of things. But there was a big period, there was a big portion of going out and like late nights and taking girls home, or, you know, just some casual flings. Big motivator for that was the process and getting all these amazing references. Like to me, it was the adventure of it, like going out and just testing all these things, overcoming challenges. I think that was the biggest thing about it. And then of course, a close second was the ability to experience all these different women, have amazing sex, have all kinds of cool connections. Like I really wanted to experience it all just from a place of curiosity. So, but after some point, like you reach a certain point where, you know, you've had all these fucking adventures. I had gone out in so many cities, you know, Europe, North America. The point is, I had gone out in so many different cities. I had seen anything and everything. I had seen it all. Okay, not to sound cocky here, but I really had seen it all. Day game, night game, dates, just slept with every possible kind of girl, had all kinds of relationships, all kinds of cool experiences, just everything. Threesomes, models, strippers, porn stars, hipster girls, artsy girls, professional girls. And I had gone through the adventure. I had gone through, not that there wasn't more to learn in life and all that stuff, right? But like, as far as the process of going out and meeting girls, the cold approach process, it wasn't as exciting for me anymore, okay? Sure, sometimes when there's novelty in the environment, like if you're in a different type of environment, it's still kind of cool. It's still interesting. But if you're in the same city or similar, or cities that are kind of similar, it's not that exciting. Overall, it wasn't as exciting for me. On top of that, there wasn't much to experience as far as, like, it was rare for girls to really, like, for me to be like blown away by a girl. Okay, like it was like looks clearly were not enough. Like you had to have like a really cool, really compelling, interesting personality. That's fucking rare, which is why it's been so hard to find someone that I was like 10 out of 10. I'm in this, right? Also I was busy and all that, but that was a factor. And so I wasn't as excited I didn't think I would be meeting some really interesting women and having these really interesting conversations. I would enjoy outings more if there were people I knew. I didn't want to pursue these like quick and dirty short-term things. So that's not to say that, caveat, that's not to say that you can set your life up in a way where these quick, casual, surface level interactions can still be good, okay, in a way, but you need to really set that up in a way, and it has to be like a conscious effort. Like, let's say some kind of Dan Bilzerian type of lifestyle, okay? First of all, a lot of money is important to that, but more than that, you need to be in a certain kind of headspace for that, and you need to have more time for that. I do want to test elements of that in the near future, but at the time, so there is value in still having a short-term thing if you're in a certain kind of headspace and have the time and energy for it. It doesn't necessarily always have to, like when you reach a certain level, it's not to say that, oh, that's it. It's serious or nothing. It's just that it's hard to create or requires certain kind of, resources to create, especially mental resources. And it has to be it's another important point here. It has to be something you want. I guess what I'm trying to say is at that time, I didn't want that, because with this comes, this is a big distraction. So you can set your life up to be some kind of like a version of Dan Bilzerian's in a way, not as extreme necessarily, but like, I don't know, a few girls you're seeing, you guys are hanging out, you're doing cool shit, but it's very distracting and time consuming. And I wanted to focus on the business in those years and right now as well. So that was not a priority. So for me, getting into something more serious was of higher value so that I could focus, still have like, little adventures here and there on the side. I'll talk more about my current relationship and how it's open in a sense. Basically, that was something that became more of a priority for me. So over time, I started basically realizing more and more that I want either something of substance, something like that I can build, someone I can build with, like build a relationship with, or I would want some kind of a Dan Bilzerian type of setup. But right now, this is not something I want to do. So in general, these are the two things. You got like casual, this whole casual type of reality, or like the more serious reality. The two can overlap, by the way. We can talk more about that later.
Hey, what up? It's me again. Just having a cocktail here, but I wanted to quickly interrupt to, one, make sure you're paying attention, and two, to let you know that everything you're learning here is directly and indirectly related to building your dream dating life, and just overall a life that is healthy, win-win, and on your terms. Now, when you're done the video, I recommend you take a few minutes to go to the link below where you can watch a very entertaining and informative video on what steps you need to take to begin your very own transformation. If you're up for it, that is. I guess you first need to ask yourself, and pardon my French here, but do you want to fuck lots of hot poon, or do you want to fuck lots of hunt? As well as find love, discover the meaning of life, and become a self-developed, self-respecting man. Okay, end of pep talk. Back to the video. Go check out the link below when you're done, or I will personally call your mother and have her force you.
So in general, these are the two things. You got like casual, this whole casual type of reality, or like the more serious reality. The two can overlap, by the way. We can talk more about that later. But overall, I realized I don't want to go and just like, generally speaking, there were exceptions here and there. I generally started like getting more and more and more to a point where I was like, I don't want to have this middle ground where I'm like going out here and there, meeting a girl, like seeing her once or twice, and then seeing someone else, and then like seeing someone, because if you keep seeing someone on an ongoing basis, if you're making like a casual thing, then it either turns into a serious thing or it turns into like a Dan Bilzerian type of thing. You need to, again, have the emotional, mental, and time resources for that, because it's not always going to be clean. It's going to be messy. You might have to find new girls. You have to like maintain this funnel process, do shit. Like I said, it's work. It's not like they just like magically land in your lap and they're just there and like all you have to do is show up, right? Well, the other avenue is just sleeping with escorts, but that's just sex. It's not always very enjoyable. So basically, you've got these two kind of, I realized you reach a certain point where you have these like two things for the most part. It's either that serious or like a really cool setup type of game, which I didn't want. I'm becoming more and more open to that. Maybe next year it's something I'm gonna like. I'll talk a bit more about what my current girlfriend and I want to kind of build. But I started becoming more and more basically open to the idea of something serious, even though I never like was truly seeking it out because I was focused on the business and still kind of figuring my shit out. And so to kind of come back to me going to Mexico and, coming back to Toronto, it all, and that last relationship in Montreal that had ended, it all kind of came together. And I was like, look, I don't want to waste any more time on anything that I don't see. I always talk about ROI. Okay, not necessarily a financial ROI, but ROI in terms of whatever you think is valuable. Okay, ROI could be like having a good conversation, just overall ROI as far as dating. And in general, I started to tell myself that anything I do, it has to make some kind of sense for me. It has to feel right. It has to feel like a use of my time. I don't want to just go through the motions of things for like these minimal, returns if I don't see value in it. So, you go through life and you start to understand what's important and what's not, and how you want to best utilize your time. So that all kind of crystallized for me. But anyway, that's kind of how things were developing. And it was around that time that I met my current girlfriend, like late April. And that was interesting. I guess, again, it was one of those things where I was, open to something serious, but not really looking for it. That kind of took me by surprise. And I wanted to explore that. Boom, that relationship happened. Very quickly, it started getting quite serious. Within like 2 months, it became quite serious. And I realized after doing some, due diligence in those 2 months, because there were some bumps and challenges that we had, but I realized that this was a really good fit. She felt the same way. She also, I guess, initially wasn't certain about being in a relationship because she had ended something within the last like 6 to 8 months, I believe, 6 months or so. So there were some hesitations for her initially to get into something serious, but we did, and then we went full steam. After those first 2-3 months, I think it was like, all right, we really got on the same page, and it was a beautiful thing, and it's still evolving. And we'll talk more about that later, maybe in a different video. But that's been really, really good and really eye-opening to finally experience what I would call consummate love. This notion that I need to make a video about, which combines the three things: passion, intimacy, and commitment. Right? So you have all three. You like someone, you're committed to them, and you are passionate about them. But anyway, it's been very eye-opening and very interesting. Something I thought a lot about before, and slowly kind of understood what I think I would need and how to make that happen, but I hadn't yet experienced that. That's the recap. I guess that's the general recap of where I'm at and what my kind of plans are for the near future, for the next 6 to 12 months, is to work on this, to keep building out the business, to be in Toronto as my hub, but maybe go somewhere for a month month here and there, and to be building the business and building my lifestyle. And that's something where talking more with my girlfriend about kind of lifestyle we want to build. Luckily, she's also open. I shouldn't say luckily, I mean, that's something I looked for. She's into women, and she's open to, our relationship is, monogamish or open in a sense, meaning we can do stuff together. We've also tried swinging, didn't really like that. Not even for reasons that you think. I'll make a separate video on all of that. Went to a bunch of sex clubs and all that. That was interesting. But basically, she's into women, and we're trying to figure out an arrangement that works well for both of us. Maybe having, like, I don't know, a couple of girlfriends or something. A couple of girls we want to see on an ongoing basis and travel with and all that. So kind of like a mini Dan Bilzerian type of setup, because I'm not looking for anything like too crazy right now. She's obviously my main girl, right? And any other women we see, it's gonna be in a more casual kind of capacity. And the key here is communication and all that. But it's something we're looking to test. We've just been busy to actively look for that. We've had a lot of really cool experiences already, threesomes and more sums and sex clubs and all kinds of stuff. But there is something valuable, as I've said before, like the casual one night stand stuff. It's not as interesting as someone you can see on an ongoing basis. So a couple of girls that we see on an ongoing basis could be really cool. So I'm glad we're very much on the same page with that. And just in general, what kind of lifestyle we want to have as far as work-life balance, as far as how often we want to travel, and when we want to kind of go away and spend 1 or 2 months somewhere else. So we're in the process of exploring what we want our lifestyle to look like, what I want my vision, my work to look like, but I already have a lot more clarity. So, all right, man, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying this content and that it really helps you make some moves in the right direction. Sincerely, because everything I teach, I have lived and breathed and contemplated ad nauseum. Unlike a bunch of these cookie cutter life coach clowns out there that regurgitate some shit they read in a book and call themselves experts. With that in mind, if you want to go deeper, if you want to really know what it takes to become the kind of guy that can confidently attract and manage relationships with quality women on your terms and in a way that is healthy and honest, no scummy or gimmicky shit here. And if you generally want to live a life of truth, freedom, love, courage, and adventure, then as Tom Cruise famously said in Jerry Maguire, help me help you, and go click the link below. There's a very entertaining and informative video that will shed some light on how you can get started. Do it, or you will forever perish into the dark abyss. But seriously, go check it out. Let's kickstart this journey of personal development together and help you reinvent yourself into a sex god.